Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah ta'ala, the intent of this series of durus is to cover as much of Juz Amma as possible. My intention for picking this particular section of the Qur'an is because it's the most commonly memorized and most commonly recited portion of the Qur'an, and so it's probably most beneficial and most relevant to the average Muslim, inshallah ta'ala. Just a few things in the introduction as to how we're going to be going about this tafseer. Really, what I would recommend for anybody who's listening, inshallah, to the recordings, and also you guys that are attending live, is that you study a tafseer on your own as a complement to this, at least one tafseer. At the very least, I would recommend going through Tafseer ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, at least that much, because that's available in English. As much as you can do of your own in terms of the readings as possible. And then inshallah ta'ala, what we're going to be sharing here is something a little bit that complements what's already been read and what's already been researched or available to you easily. One of the fundamental purposes of this series is to illustrate how the Qur'an, or every surah of the Qur'an, is a cohesive argument. How it's unified and its subject matter is presented in a coherent fashion. So inshallah ta'ala, because this is one of the aspects of tafsir that gets overlooked, in that when you are studying the tafsir of one ayah and every word or every little grammatical nuance, and you go so far in depth into it, which is great, what ends up happening is you lose sight of the bigger picture. How is everything connected? How is this part of one discourse? Because you understand that this was originally recited without any tafsir. This was recited to an audience and there was no explanation. They were just hearing the words one ayah after another, and they were processing this stuff. And first and foremost, we understand that Meccan Qur'an in particular, it was being recited to predominantly a not believing audience. So for believers, at least afterwards, they can stop at every ayah and ask questions from the people of knowledge and learn more and more about the ayat. But first and foremost, Meccan Qur'an, and Juz Amma is a great example of, and a good selection of Meccan Qur'an, is a discourse that is almost a message being delivered to non-believers. So it's a clear discourse in and of itself. So we're going to try to explore some of the clarity of thought and the organization of ideas that are presented in each and every surah.